Hello, everyone. Today is November 29th, 2023. This is the Kubernetes Data Protection Working Group meeting. Okay, so I think we have two things on the agenda today. The first one is CBT, and then we'll have some questions we want to discuss about the working group snapshot. Okay, so Yvonne Carr, you want to give an update on the status of this?
Yeah, sure. Got very good feedback from Ben on the CSI spec. We've had a couple of dialogues. I responded to his last set of comments last night. I don't know if he's looked at it yet. I doubt it.
This is here on the CSS spec, right? You mean?
On the CSI spec, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's very good dialogue going on there. So that's where that is. I've also tried to keep the KEP up to date with the CSI spec as we make changes in the spec.
Okay.
Yeah, so I saw the responses. I haven't read the exact words yet, but I think we're in good shape because I just had some concerns about the exact wording around starting offset, and
Sure.
I really want to make it impossible for there to be misunderstanding about how to resume from like a failed transfer of metadata.
Yeah, I think that's great, Ben. I mean, I totally agree with your comments there. Yeah.
So, what about James? Is he okay with this stream struct now, or is that the decision? I didn't read the discussion. Are we using the stream that he was having some concerns about before? What's the decision about that one?
James had given additional feedback, and he hadn't complained further about that. In fact, he actually wrote that the last argument on the about the last, I guess, justification we made about the classical pagination algorithm versus what we're using. He said that probably the most convincing argument there.
Okay.
So yeah, he gave additional feedback though on a lot of the stylistic issues and details, right?
Okay.
So those have been fixed.
He's not okay. So sounds like he's fine. He's on board with the structure.
That's my impression, Ben.
The type.
I was going to say I didn't see him respond directly to anything about the stream, so
Okay.
it's unclear to me if he's over that concern or if he's ignoring it for now and focusing on easier to solve problems. So I think we should presume that given he didn't say anything, that he's okay.
Okay.
But get one last round of feedback, just like the last chance. We've made all the changes and here we go.
Okay.
Yeah, it sounds to me like he gave you some soft agreement. So I think we need to just confirm it, just to share, hey, before we merge.
Yeah, I think I'm pretty sure he's going to block the merge if he still has concerns. Yeah, he normally is going to bring it up anyway. So
if you see that link and the comment after that link,
which one?
I just pasted a link in the chat.
Oh.
So if you see a comment after that.
It's so slow. All right.
Right, it'll jump.
This one? Okay.
Yeah. So then see his comment after that.
Oh, the last bullet point is probably the most convincing here. Oh, okay. So so this one is basically the performance, right?
Yeah.
I see. Okay, good. Okay. All right. I'll actually want to copy paste it here. So
yeah, but I think he still needs to,
so not the right.
But he had additional feedback which we addressed.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. There were a bunch of changes since he had his comments, so he should get another chance.
Okay, but this is anyway. This is good, I think. Let me copy this. Is it okay for me to easily copy? I'll put this one here. All right. Okay, that's good. So basically, this is in good shape and in making good progress. So hopefully we can get those in. And so we're targeting 1.30. I guess that sounds like we are, yeah, we should be able to do that. What about, have you signed, Carl, what's about this one? Are you okay with this?
Somewhere in our legal,
Still? Okay.
Mark Levy is actually following up on that. I'll ping him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I think the rest of them, I think it's same. We just okay, moving forward. That's good. Now this one, I think last time, Ben, you were not here. I think this was brought up. This, you know, just wondering if you are aware of this issue. This is some. You will. Yeah.
This was a compile problem, right?
Right. Is it? Do you know if this is get resolved already, or do we still have any issues here? Or?
I remember when we last talked about this, which feels like months ago. I started investigating like what was going on, and my recollection is I was able to reproduce it, and I don't remember what happened after that. I'm pretty sure that I never figured out what the underlying problem was. I think we need to dig deeper and see like why it's behaving strangely. I mean, I think it must be some technical issue with the protobuf compiler.
So does this will this block any of the PRs from being merged? I guess that's the most important question.
I had kind of backed the base PR to the one before this commit, right? So I'm able to submit updated proto, what is the CSS, the protobuf file.
Okay.
But if someone, if it gets merged and the process tries to rebuild, right, it might break. It's fragile.
Yeah, I think that the issue is with when the proto file gets converted to Go code. There's a build step in the makefile that does that, and it doesn't do the right thing every time. So there's a danger that if people are pulling that Go code and somebody submits a PR where they haven't done things just so, that we could get bad Go code that people could end up pulling, and it could be dangerous. So I think we have to get to the bottom of it. I haven't put in the time to do that, and I had forgotten about it.
Oh, okay.
If anyone is willing to help with that, I'd appreciate it, because I got a bunch of stuff on my plate, and it would be a distraction to go digging through that makefile and figure out what happened. It's something in the makefile, I'm sure.
So this is still, and then there's, I think someone linked this one, but we're not sure if this one is relevant. Right. I think someone added this link last time. Not sure. This is actually pretty old.
No, this is just 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago? Oh, but this is just science CCLA, but this one was submitted quite some time ago.
Yeah, but this, I think this is still after the problem initiated, because I think we first noticed this over the summer.
Okay.
And we just never dug into it. So
this could be a, maybe this, do you think this might fix it? Is this one actually
perhaps
changes in the, okay, so maybe you can help review this one then?
Yeah.
Let's see. Saad, look at it. I think he's pinning. I think Saad pinned.
Did Saad approve it or LGTM it or just?
No, I think Saad just asked him to sign the CLA.
Fixes build. Says this fixes build on ARM host. Go back to the top. ARM OSX host. I don't know if this is.
Oh,
it's just some changes to the proto compiler, but it might be a different issue.
Okay, so maybe okay. So is this the one that was opened for? Oh no, this is not. This is a Go 1.16, not necessarily the.
Like that's more than 2 years old. Okay. I mean, we've had build problems before, and
yeah,
I think it's just we need constant maintenance of the make file as Go changes and as protobufs change.
Okay. So we probably try to get this one merged, right? Before we cut the next release, should try to get this one merged, I guess.
Yes, we should review it and we should see if it solves the other problem or if additional work is needed.
Okay, so you want to take a look of this? I'll CC you.
Yeah.
I'll CC you.
Yeah.
It's already CC. I think CC to James, but I don't see any comments from him.
Did he say that the CLA is that did sign it?
Yeah, that's signed.
Or confirmed. Okay.
Yeah, confirmed. So basically, I think
that,
Saad received it. I don't know. This one is probably sent through email, maybe. Maybe Saad got it. I don't know how.
It's very manual. It's
yeah.
The governance structure for CSI is far from ideal.
Yeah.
And that's something we would like to fix.
Yeah. Okay, so I think, yeah, I don't think James has looked at this one at all. So yeah, all right, but at least I'm going to say this may be relevant. All right, so that's this one. And then the last topic is this working group snapshot. So right now the one last thing that is remaining for working group snapshot is static provision. So dynamic provision that we have already completed. And there's, I think, maybe need one more small PR, but the feature is working now. But static provision, now we run into a problem because so you remember, Ben, we actually went back and forth on this one when we were working on the CSI spec PR, right? And then we finally decided to have snapshot IDs as required parameters when we do a get group snapshot, right? Remember, so alongside the group snapshot ID, we also require user to enter the individual snapshot IDs because the concern was some I think the concern is some security systems may not be able to provide them. Now that actually becomes a problem for us when we are implementing this, because when we do static provisioning, right? So basically admin will first go create a working group snapshot content. But in the working snapshot content, if it's the dynamic provisioning, then in the status, we'll have those snapshot IDs. So for delete snapshot, we don't have a problem. But this is a static provisioning, so user will have to manually construct this YAML, which does not have a status. So we don't have those IDs there. So there is no way for them even to manually construct them, right? Because they're not.
But do the snapshots need to exist?
Right, they need to, right? Static provisioning meaning they should be already there, right? So both the
but I mean, not only do the snapshots need to be there, but you need to have volume snapshot content objects that represent them, right?
So I was initial, but I was just looking at the I mean, what was the cap? Maybe close. So I think the cap initially was written the way, basically thinking that I think I didn't update that after we made changes in the CSS spec. So I was reading it right now. Initially, I was thinking we will be able to, just by providing the group snapshot ID, we will be able to get the individual snapshot. So initially I thought that then we will be constructing all of those. We're not requiring user to have other Kubernetes API objects at all. We were constructing them.
You mean we as in the CO?
Right. So basically, if a user, so basically the CO only requires them to exist on storage system, but we have a way to import them. So just assuming the use case would be, let's say someone do a migration, right? They have this dynamically created in one cluster. Now they want to, do this migration. They want to go to another cluster, then they basically saved all the handles, all the IDs information, then they want to be able to statically bring them back, right? So so the admin would know all the IDs, but it's just and then we will be the CO or the snapshot controller, that external snapshotter, right? That component will be the one who is going to construct all the Kubernetes API objects, and then bring them back. So yeah.
So I'm not grasping what the problem is. Is the problem that we know what the snapshot IDs are, but we can't enter them into the object because they're in the status field?
Because the problem is right now, so the problem is right now, right? So what we're getting is this, right? So when you construct this one, right? You basically provide group snapshot ID and then some secrets. And then we also need to provide, I think that's the comment that I provided. He didn't have that because he was having some trouble. So basically those three secrets, then we can ignore that. Basically we need both the snapshot, group snapshot ID and the individual snapshot IDs in order to construct a voting group snapshot content. In order to make this call to storage system, right? So in order to make the CSI call, right? We're going to construct building this one, and then we can make a CSI call, right? This is a get voting group snapshot request. If you look at the delete, right? I think this interface is actually similar to delete, right? So we have group snapshot ID, then we have a list of snapshot IDs plus the secrets. So I think we were thinking it's the same thing for the delete, because at that time we already have the voting group snapshot content object in there. And then in that content, we have the individual IDs in the status field. But since this is a static provisioning, we do not have the status field yet. We are building this one from scratch. So that's the problem is where do we find the snapshot IDs?
Well, so the case you were describing earlier was a migration case, right? So
right
there we have them from the
but then I guess I guess the problem is we don't have those field. So even if we want to insert it here, we don't have them in the spec. We only have them in the status. I think having them in the spec is weird. I thought so. We didn't. So in the design, right?
Okay,
group snapshot.
But we could just create one of these statically and then update the status with the correct value as a two-step operation. Would that be so bad?
If you do that, that's possibility, but I don't know if it's going to cause other problems, because then it may try to let's see, it may be okay, right? Because this is a static.
As long as there's something, as long as there's something in the spec that tells it like this is like don't go, this is not a dynamic, this is not a request for a dynamic snapshot, right?
Yeah, but it's going to be slow because I guess it's possible, right? It's just slow because I was just trying to think what are the problems here. I guess because the source is one snapshot handle, it's not going to try to dynamically create anything since this one says it's static. I guess so that at least we know we are fine here, right? It's not going to try to create anything new.
I wish I could remember more,
because it's going to be then we have to kind of wait for the next update, right? Basically we're getting this object again during the next update. When we see those, then we can go ahead and create, otherwise we just wait. Basically it's going to be slow. Maybe I think that's actually the idea that maybe we can explore, right? Will there be any other problems that you can think of if we do this two-step?
I can't. I'm having a hard time remembering all of the issues.
This
was like months ago, but
we can experiment this way. It's not a problem, I think.
I do remember there's a good reason for requiring all of the snapshot IDs in addition to the group snapshot ID at delete time. And
the reason is that because I remember the reason is that we think that some storage system may not be able to do that, provide that. But I'm actually not thinking, maybe then for those, maybe we just do not support it. Would that be even better than this way? I don't know. That's why I want to talk about this one. This is also pretty complicated, right? It's not like inputting one object.
The underlying issue is if there's a storage system for which the group snapshot ID is not really meaningful, right? Because it's just you're taking a snapshot of a bunch of volumes and the underlying system just takes a bunch of snapshots at the same time, and then that's the only state that it has. There's no mapping from the group snapshot ID to the individual snapshots. Then when you come back and try to delete the group snapshot ID, you won't know what you're talking about unless the SP were to store that in some database somewhere. We didn't want to create like a requirement for the SP to carry state. We wanted to push that requirement up to the CO to remember which snapshots were involved. So I don't have a strong opinion about how it should be represented at the Kubernetes layer. Like maybe status is not the best way to do it. Maybe there's some other API structure for keeping track of this, but I do think it's important for the CO to know the relationship between the group snapshot and the individual snapshots, so that the SP doesn't have to remember that.
Okay, so now actually you when you said that, now I remember. That is a problem, right? Maybe that's the reason, because some system doesn't really have this doesn't have this thing, right? This is like, I think that probably is the reason. But in that case, even like okay, now I think we still have this problem when you do update. How does Kubernetes know what other snapshots that needs to be part of this, right? We don't. How does this know? It doesn't know, right? It's like, unless if we import the individual ones first, that's also very strange.
Well, why? I mean, for a system that only has individual snapshots, doesn't explicitly represent the group snapshot, that doesn't seem strange at all, because that's mirroring what's happening at the lower level.
You're right, but we also do not allow them to really delete a individual snapshot if it's part of group, right? Because then you're kind of breaking the consistency part. Then why do we even need consistent group snapshot if you just want to doing them like that, right? So
well, yeah. I mean,
there are some. I guess there's some little weird things there. Okay, so I think that that's another way I was thinking, is the only way is to somehow we need to make some changes in the individual snapshot API to allow those to be imported first, and then this one still has to be like a two-step process to get those in here, right?
But I thought that we had static provisioning for snapshots already. So I'm just
But I was just saying right now the problem is that we don't know that's part of the group. That's the one thing that's missing. We do have that, yes. So the group,
but if you did it as a multi-step process where you let's say you're doing a migration, so you have a group snapshot on your old cluster and it's got 4 individual volume snapshots in it. You're going over to a new cluster and you want to basically import it. Couldn't you just take the 4 snapshots, import them individually?
You can. The problem is for the individual snapshot, that the group group snapshot handle that's also in the status is not in the spec. So you would still, even if you import that, how do you know that's part of the group? We still have
you wouldn't. I mean, initially it wouldn't be, but you'd import
okay,
them, and then the last step is you'd import the group, and then you'd fix everything.
But then who is deciding the connection? I guess that's the missing part. So how does, let's say,
whatever controller is doing the migration and creating these objects? I mean, ordinary users can't create snapshot content objects. You need elevated privileges. So presumably this is either an admin or some controller doing it. That controller would have to carefully orchestrate like a multi-step process of
but then
all the snapshots and then the group snapshot.
But then they will have. But we allow user to just create YAMLs by doing this, right? That's the thing. If we have
you're saying that we have an interface for the user to just directly
We don't right now. We don't,
Well-
right? That's why we're discussing here. So
Well, but okay, so if you're statically importing a single snapshot,
that's fine. If it's not part of group, no problem at all.
the user creates a volume snapshot object that points to an existing volume snapshot content object, right?
Right. That's not a
And-
problem, right? Yeah.
And that volume snapshot content object had to either be created by an administrator or by some controller with elevated privileges ahead of time.
The problem
And-
is the problem is in the content volume snapshot content, the group information is in the status. So nobody knows that when you put that status, when you just create a YAML, you can't just add that status there. You can update the status. That's the problem. We can't say
Sure,
you
but
write your own controller to do that, right? We can't say that. You know what I'm saying? When we support static provisioning, normally they can just create a YAML, then that's sufficient manually, right?
well, but maybe we need an optional spec field for when you're statically importing these things to specify the snapshot IDs
why-
you already know about.
That's what
And then the controller will mirror that into the status as needed, so that if you're statically importing it, like you have an opportunity to supply the knowledge that you wouldn't have to supply if it was a dynamic case. Or maybe we say actually it should always be part of the spec, and just modify the API object and the controllers to put these in the spec instead of the status, and then just call it V1 alpha 2. Right, we can just it's an alpha, right? So we can change the API.
No, snapshot that we can change that. Snapshot is already is V1.
And not snapshots, but the group snapshots, like the list of snapshot IDs for a group snapshot. That's an alpha object. We can rev it and move it into the spec, and keep it in the spec and just change all the controllers. And maybe that's a better API interface if we want to let people just import these with YAML. I mean, it's not that hard to edit the status of an object in the command line. You have to jump through a few more hoops, but
yeah, that's
you can
normally
do it.
not what we do. Yeah, that's normally we don't do.
So if we want to spare admins the need to do that, we can move it to the spec. That's the only suggestion I have.
Yeah, that's fine.
I
I'm just discussing. I'm not saying that. I probably I'm thinking I'm leaning towards not having that for this release. Just have dynamic provision, because it's just
I do think supporting static provisioning is an important thing to think about. So
yeah, we can think about it. But I think because we already have a lot of delays for this just implementing the first phase of the feature, so I don't want to delay for this one, and I also don't want to just kind of change the API and then ended up regretting it. So I just want to think more about it, maybe.
Okay.
I think it's
but it is alpha. So if we need we
can. I'm not saying we cannot change it. I just want to think a little bit more about this. I think the static, this one is different because this one we're importing multiple objects and not just like one, right? We know how to do it for one, right? That's well tested. We have that one for PV. We have that one for one snapshot.
Yeah.
But for this one, it's a groups. It's let me just think more about the process. I think it's it's very different.
Okay, I apologize. I have a conflict at the bottom of the hour.
Yeah.
So
that's fine. I think it's actually good. I think I now that I remember why we have that requirement. Yeah.
Okay. So
Okay.
I'm going to drop. You can continue with the meeting, please.
Okay.
But,
all right. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye. I'll just write some notes here. Basically, the Okay, all right. Are there other things we want to discuss in today's meeting?
I think we are good from the CPT side.
Okay. If that, then that's it for today then. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Xing.
Bye.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.